Good evening, Miles and CMF. Hope you're all well. Had a great day. Tom, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Evening, Miles and CMF. Manny, good to see you as well. How you doing, Manny? How you been? Thank you so much to everyone that's retweeting the live show, liking live shows. I'm getting notifications. Thank you. Let's go. Messi, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Hi, brother. Kamal, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Jason, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Hi, Miles and CMF. Dennis, good to see you as well. How you doing? Okay. So by the time everyone tune, I'm good, but still bearish, as you can see. Still bearish, as you can see. Yeah, on that one particular crypto project, but the rest of the market is doing quite well, actually. And there's a lot of news to go through on regarding why the markets are doing good. So by the time everyone tunes in, I'll do a gist of everything we're going to be talking about tonight's live show, so everyone can tune in. Then we go through the first news. Now, any ETH and XRP news? Yes, quite a bit of ETH news, and one XRP and Ripple news as well, yes, but quite a bit of ETH news. Good evening, Professor Miles. Funky brother, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? So on tonight's live show, we are going to be talking about the UK judge that has now essentially just ruled in that Craig, who was, a person that came out and said, I am the founder of Bitcoin, has now, is going to be prosecuted, let's say, for example. That's the first news we want to be going through. The next news we're going through on tonight's live show is regarding Gala and how the crypto project Gala has actually been hacked. And Gala has decided not to respond on the matter. The next news we're going to be talking about tonight's live show is regarding New York and the $2 billion settlement that's happened. Then we're going to be talking about Grayscale Investments and how they're replacing their CEO. And then we're going to be talking about the Ethereum SEC situation. And then we're going to be talking about the perspectives on the Ethereum ETF situation that have changed overnight. And then we're going to be talking about the Ethereum custody platform that's going to be launching. Ironically, the same time this news is going around regarding Ethereum ETFs. And then we're going to be talking about the Blockchain Association and how they're calling for a FIT21 House vote, because there are two more votings that's going to be happening inside the United States that are both, quite going to be changing the cryptocurrency landscape without a doubt. So two more votes that are still on the way inside the United States. One of them we're going to be talking about as well. Then we're going to be talking about the 40.3% increase in investments by crypto venture investors has happened so far. Then we're going to be talking, which is quite bullish, and then we're going to be talking about programmable Bitcoin blockchains that I talked about on yesterday's live show, but a bit more on tonight's live show as well. A lot of things happening on the Bitcoin network. Then we're going to be talking about Brazil and how Brazil is going to be setting an example for the rest of the world in terms of global markets when it comes to cryptocurrencies. A lot of revolutionary things that are happening in Brazil with Coinbase, essentially, and interesting enough, Ripple as well. But we're also going to talk about the Bank of Brazil. They're, going to be revolutionizing the crypto space, in their words. We're also going to talk about Ripple, XRP, and Brazil, interesting enough. We're also going to be talking about the Bank of England and their signals that they're giving out right now regarding market and rate cuts. We're also going to be talking about quite an exclusive news that's came out, essentially about 20 minutes ago, let's say, regarding the SEC and how they're asking for essentially some amendments in the Ethereum ETF applications that these institutions filled out. Then we're going to talk about the ex-Florida congressman who has joined Coinbase as well on the Global Board of Advisories. Quite a bit of news to go through, quite a mixture of news to go through regarding Ethereum, regarding Ethereum ETFs, essentially, and different perspectives on Ethereum ETFs and how they've changed overnight. Brazil and how they're going to be revolutionizing the cryptocurrency space, quite bullish. The Central Bank of Brazil also give a little speech as well. Coinbase on Brazil give a speech. Ripple on Brazil give a speech. Quite a lot of mixture of news to go from tonight's live show, definitely. But before we go through any of that, first of all, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF live shows. We talk about cryptocurrencies on this live show every single night. We talk about recent news, cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, regulations, politics, AI, anything to do with the blockchain space. We talk about it. So tune into this live show every single night on X or YouTube. We're live on both of them as usual, 11:25 p.m. UK time. If you watch this for the first time, welcome to the CMF live show. We also do Q&As, which means if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. The disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So if it's your first time watching, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're regular, let's go CMF. Now, before we go through the first news, let's go inside the comment section. Good evening, Professor Miles. Funky brother, good to see you. How you doing? George, hi Miles of CMF. Good to see you as well, George. How you doing? I'm happy tonight as my bags are looking good on ETH. Let's go, Funky brother. It's a good thing you didn't sell. I told you, wait for the ETF situation. JP, good to see you. How you doing? Hi Miles of CMF. How you doing, JP? Prices are skyrocketing. Yes, they are. Evening, Miles of CMF. Joe, good to see you as well. How you doing? Morning, Miles and family. Shelly, good to see you as well. How you doing? Morning. It looks like Ethereum ETFs will be approved by the looks of it. Yes. Carol, good to see you as well. How you doing? I hope so. Well, we're going to go through that. I heard Gala got hacked 200 million. Yes, that's true. We're going to be going through that on tonight's live show as well regarding Gala getting hacked and the team behind Gala being very quiet about the whole scenario of Gala getting hacked. Now, the first news we're going through on tonight's live show, before we go through the Ethereum news and market perspectives, just some news to get out there regarding what's happening in terms of the legal perspectives. Yes, you did, Miles. I appreciate it. Let's go, Funky brother. Now, UK judge Craig Wright lied extensively and repeatedly about creating Bitcoin is the first news we're going through on tonight's live show. So Craig Wright is, if you don't know who he is, and you're in the blockchain space, you should know, but he's a man that claimed that he is the founder of Bitcoin. And after years of lying in court, the lies have caught up to him, where the High Court in the UK is not happy about how he lied. So, a UK High Court judge has ruled that the American scientist Craig Wright lied and committed forgery during his trials. In a written judgment published essentially today, the Justice James Miller ruled that Wright committed a perjury during the 6-week Copper versus Wright trial. And where he conducted that he was the Bitcoin essentially creator Satoshi Nakamoto, Miller concluded that Wright used fraudulent documents to make false accusations. It is clear that Dr. Wright engaged in the deliberate production of false documents to support false claims and used the courts as a vehicle for fraud. Miller wrote, I'm entirely satisfied that Dr. Wright lied to the court extensively and repeatedly. All his lies and forged documents were in support of his biggest lie, as essentially claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, in March, Miller concluded that Wright was not Nakamoto and had not been authorized by Bitcoin foundational documents, the white paper. Miller explained that Dr. Wright represents himself as an extremely clever person. However, in my judgment, he's not that nearly as clever as he thinks he is. The legal battle between essentially COPA. Over the years, Dr. Wright has boldly claimed that he is the mastermind behind Bitcoin. This claim has met with skepticism and controversies, leading to a legal battle with the Crypto Open Patent Alliance, COPA, a key player in the crypto industry. COPA filed a lawsuit against Dr. Wright in 2021. Back in 2021, the trial began on February 5th and saw COPA accusing Wright of forgery and later perjury. Wright has now publicly responded to Miller's statements, but posted on X stating, I fully intend to appeal the decision of the court on the matter of the identity issue. Ruling implications. The ruling has significant implications for the cryptocurrency industry. It confirms Bitcoin's decentralized scenarios and leaderless essence and ensures that no single individual can claim its origins. This court ruling finally resolves one of the most controversial and widely publicized essentially claims regarding the persona of Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, the legal ramifications of Dr. Wright's perjury remains to be seen, but $7.6 million of assets were frozen as well to prevent Dr. Wright from moving his assets offshore to avoid the case's costs. Now, sensing his losses, Dr. Wright had tried to settle a dispute with COPA out of court in January, but COPA declined. So, I just want to get that out there as well because this news did come in today. regarding Dr. Wright, the person that kept on claiming he is the founder of Bitcoin, is the founder of Bitcoin. We all knew he wasn't, and now finally it's taken off the books, which is what we wanted, and we could put that behind us inside the crypto space, and also institutions could put that behind them as well, which is a clear sign to move forward on the market space, and that needed to be done. The guy was an absolute moron. It's a good thing that he's out of the picture now inside the crypto space, and the crypto space and the institutions can move forward with the crypto space. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is a hack that's happened on Gala. Essentially, the Gala team is very silent on the matter. A hack causes a massive loss for Gala coin investors. Is the next news we're going to be going from tonight's live show. But before we do that, let's go inside the comment section. If you're holding Gala, you really have to know about this. So, any XRP good news? Well, we have one. We're going to get through regarding Ripple matter, but let me go inside the comment section, read everybody's comments as usual, one by one, where we were here. Carol, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? I hope so. Let's go. George, good to see you. I heard Gala. Yes, it did. Got hacked. What about it? Yes, you did, Miles. I appreciate that. Okay. Hello, Miles and CMF family. K-Love, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? What's up, brother Miles and CMF? Billo, good to see you. How you doing? XRP news. Yes, we have one to go through in the middle of the live show. Good day, Miles and CMF. Mike, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Orphan, good to see you. How you doing? XRP might pump to 0.60 before dump to 0.40. Makes sense. And case, well, we had no results so far. Any sort of news come out of the Ripple versus SEC scenario? No news so far. It's very, very silent. Silent could be good. Silent could also be bad in some sort of ways. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Reading further. Good to see you. How you doing? Happy Pisces. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? So, the hack causes massive losses for Gala coin investors. Cryptocurrency investors are experiencing both excitement and dread at the same time. The overall market sentiment is positive. However, a popular altcoin suddenly dropped while preparing for a double-digit rise. The reason is it got hacked. A loss of $200 million has happened on Gala. Why is Gala coin dropping? According to an on-chain movement, Gala coin was hacked and tokens worth $200 million are being exchanged for Ethereum, interesting enough. The popular altcoin rose to 0.048 and then quickly fell to 0.3. The timing was so terrible while the entire market was rising with ETH ETF approvals, rumors, and Gala coin price essentially had gained 8%, but then it suddenly dropped to 7% and resulting to the double-digit loss. The team has yet to essentially provide any sort of reasonable explanations for this on-chain activity. Many sources report that the $200 million loss regarding Gala as breaking news. If the team confirms this is essentially in the coming moments, we may see an accelerated sales of Gala coins. Investors are advised to be cautious of potential dump movements and deeper losses. If you are holding Gala, there could be a possibility of Gala dropping even further. And the hackers perfectly timed this at a scenario where there's a rumor for essentially Ethereum and, regarding the ETFs, which we're going to be going through on tonight's live shows, or regarding Ethereum ETFs, a lot of perspectives to go through. But at the same time, Gala was hacked and the hacked money was turned into Ethereum to boost Ethereum even further. Now, the next news to go through on tonight's live show is New York AG reaches $2 billion settlement with defunct, essentially, Genesis Global. Now, I talked about Gemini essentially being, they have to pay back everybody's money. I talked about Gemini about a week ago, where the judges, not about a week ago, but about a few days ago, that the judges have approved, and Gemini's own program has to, stop paying back everybody regarding the crypto assets they lost. Now, inside the Gemini case, there was also Genesis involved. And there was another person involved, which was from essentially Grayscale. And Grayscale's CEO today, ironically, was replaced as the same time this news came out as well. So, New York AG reaches $2 billion settlement with Genesis Global. A $2 billion settlement has been reached between the New York State Attorney General's office and Genesis Global Holdco. A prolonged discussion stemming from the allegations of misrepresenting Genesis related financial activities led to this conclusion. Genesis is now in the bankruptcy process, therefore the deal must be accepted by the bankruptcy court. Also, this settlement marks a significant change in the way crypto firms are regulated now. A landmark settlement. Genesis and New York Attorney General Lita James reached a landmark settlement, the largest of its kind in New York's cryptocurrency regulatory history. Also, as a part of this settlement, a victim fund would be established to assist investors from New York who had been invested essentially over $1.1 billion in Genesis via the Gemini Earn program. Moreover, the New York investors who lost money with the Gemini Earn program will get essentially repetitions from the victim fund that the business will create. And according to the terms of the deal, the impacted creditors will receive up to $2 billion from this fund, which is derived from the Genesis residual assets. The firm's downfall was brought on by the series of industry failures, including 3 Arrow Capital and FTX Exchange obviously was involved in this scenario, which led to its bankruptcy filing in January 2022. The legal procedures against other parties involved, such as Gemini Trust Company LLC, might continue as a result of the settlement, which does not include the firm's admission of guilt. A crypto lending program essentially run by Gemini was the subject of a lawsuit filed in New York. Attorney General James against the cryptocurrency firm Genesis and digital currency group DCG, its parent company. Yes, there was a few companies essentially involved in this whole downfall situation. However, they're going to be paying back everybody now, so we have to see how that market plays out, as well as the market become volatile, because some they're paying back in cash and some in crypto. Same with Gemini Earn program situation. Unlike the FTX situation, which is just cash and it's going to be bullish for the crypto market space. But that's what's happened today as well. And ironically, while that happened today, Grayscale's investment CEO Michael is going to be stepping down. Now, you might think, is this randomly, Michael stepping down, or does it have some relevance to something else that's essentially maybe happening? Well, Michael was actually involved in the whole DCG's Genesis Gemini FTX situation. Michael also had a hand in that situation, which is why when this news came out that Genesis is going to be paying back everybody right now, and the court has finally settled it, Grayscale have decided to make Michael step down. Is what the real reason is. Obviously, they're spinning a different story of why Michael is stepping down, but that's the real scenario, because Michael also had a hand in the whole downfall FTX, downfall Genesis, downfall Gemini situation. That's why Grayscale's investment CEO Michael has decided to step down today. And we're going to be going through that right now as well. But before we do that, let's go inside the comment section. And then after that, we're going to go straight into the Ethereum ETF news. There's quite a bit to go through regarding Ethereum ETF news. Some data and stats, some perspectives to go through. But before we do that, let's go inside the comment section, just see if there's any questions inside the comment section. What should I convert my Gala to? Not USDT and no XRP. Any option? USDC then. Hello, Miles and CMF Coin. Good to see you. How you doing? Then USDC. If you're not going to go for USDT as a stable coin, then I would say USDC then, preferably. Now, hello, Miles and CMF Coin. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? So, Grayscale CEO Michael steps down. With his recognition, essentially, Michael, CEO of Grayscale Investments, has ended his 10-year tenure with the firm. Peter, who is now essentially a Goldman Sachs global head of strategies, will essentially be the succeed for Michael, according to Wall Street Journal. Michael legacies are still essentially plainly visible to everyone. As a result of the efforts, Grayscale's Investments was able to expand into the leading crypto asset management organization in the industry, which is true. Michael did help Grayscale expand so much into cryptocurrencies, where they have a cryptocurrency fund. They were taking cryptocurrencies seriously by suing the SEC to get Bitcoin ETFs. So yes, Michael did do quite a lot for the crypto space. And as a result, Michael unwavering support for the company's products. The Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, the GBTC, was approved by the US SEC to become a fully functional, essentially, Bitcoin ETF. Although the approval was good for the cryptocurrency industry as a whole, it was not essentially without its costs. In response to the repeated denials, Grayscale sued the US SEC and ultimately prevailed, releasing the product into the market. And Peter is expected to assume the role of Chief Executive Officer in August after his recognition. Now, Barry Silbert, the founder and CEO of DCG, stated, Peter is an exceptional strategic leader and with global expertise across the most prominent asset managers, which are critical ingredients as we position Grayscale for its next phase of growth. Edward McPhee, the company's current chief financial officer, CFO, will assume control until Michael arrives in August, but Michael's essentially retirement is effective immediately, and through unanticipated, the change essentially exemplifies the company's agility to essentially bring in onboard specialists it thinks will propel its goal forward. Grayscale is renowned for moving essentially important positions around throughout the company, as shown as a hiring of Donald Verley and onboarding Barry Burke. Which is true. Grayscale has done quite a lot of movements for the crypto space, without a doubt. They were the one that was essentially the catalyst behind Bitcoin ETFs as well, and some other ventures. And obviously, Grayscale's crypto fund portfolio. Let's say they have Bitcoin, they have Ethereum, they have Solana in their fund. They also have XRP and AVAX in their fund as well. Regarding Grayscale, now. The news that we wanted to essentially go through mostly on tonight's live show is regarding the Ethereum news. So there's quite a bit of Ethereum news and different perspectives on Ethereum news. The SEC rumored to be considering spot Ether ETF denial, says analysts. Now, there are two exchange traded funds, essentially analysts, that have said they are reevaluating their chances of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, approving a spot Ether exchange traded fund after hearing chatter, is what they said, about the financial regulator. Now, the two people that have changed their opinions regarding Ethereum ETFs are quite influential people inside the ETF space. The reason why they are is because they're Bloomberg ETF analyst specialists. Now, you might think, well, that's not a big deal. There's a lot of people inside the ETF space giving perspectives. Well, when everybody was against the idea of Bitcoin ETFs being accepted, the ETF specialists from Bloomberg, the same people that have came out now, were the same people, back then in the Bitcoin ETF situation. They came out of nowhere and they said, look, we have, some inside chatter coming in, and we think it's, pretty much on the verge of being approved 11th of January. Everybody else regarding specialists and analysts around that Bitcoin ETF scenario time said, oh, we don't think it is going to be approved. Probably it's going to be postponed or so on and so on. But the ETF analysts said, no, we have, inside chatter situations going on. Not inside, because then it'd be inside trading, but they said, we've heard some things, for example, that's going to be happening. And what you know, they were correct. And wherever their information came from, they were on the money. So the two analysts that did that for the Bitcoin ETFs are the two analysts that are, speaking right now regarding the ETF matter for Ethereum. So in May 20X post, Bloomberg ETF analysts James and Eric, the same two people for the Bitcoin ETFs that said it's green lighted, said that the SEC might be doing a 180 on their expected denial of the spot Ethereum exchange traded funds this week. Filings from the regulator, public statements from the SEC chairman Gary Gensler, reports of investigators previously suggested that the commission may have been preparing to deny the spot Ethereum ETF applications, is what these two analysts said about a few days ago, and I shared this on this live show. But these two analysts have came out of nowhere and said, no, we've heard some inside chatter situations, and we think it's going to be green lighted. And so, however, according to essentially Eric and James, and they've changed their predictions on their odds of their spot Ethereum ETF approvals. And how they've changed it is because yesterday, Eric and James were sitting at 25% chance of approval for Ethereum ETFs. Right now, they've essentially said it's gone to 75% approval for the Ethereum ETFs. They went from 25% to 35% to 75% approval for the Ethereum ETFs. And they're saying this because it's based on the chatter they're hearing, the same chatter that told them the Bitcoin ETFs are going to be approved, and they were. Eric hinted at the investment vehicle was becoming an increasingly political issue. Now, never gonna. This is what essentially one of them essentially mentioned word for word. Never gonna hear the end of this from the Ether people in my replies. If this turns out to be true, said Eric, but it's what we're hearing from multiple sources. Should see a bunch of filings over the coming days if we're correct. So Eric is saying if we are correct, there's going to be in a few days some filings, some extra filings the SEC has requested for the green lights. The SEC might decide whether to approve or deny the Van Eck spot Ethereum ETFs before May 23rd. The Commission has delayed Van Eck's application for as long as it was allowed under the regulatory guidelines, making it the first long line of spot Ethereum ETFs being considered. Essentially, ARC21 shares, Hashdex, Invensigo, Galaxy, BlackRock, and Fidelity are also waiting for their decisions from the SEC. In an April 9th interview, Van Eck CEO John Van Eck said that he doubted that the SEC would approve his company's ETFs. applications in May. The asset manager Grayscale withdrew an application for the Ethereum futures ETFs on May 7th. And Michael announced that he would step down as CEO on May 20th as well. And US lawmakers inside the House of Representatives and Senate are essentially voted in the last 2 weeks to overturn the SEC rulings after the regulators treat the banks. So that scenario has been a catalyst for what's moving forward now as well. So you could say there's pressure on Gary Gensler for once to do the right thing and not to be scrutinized again. Because if Gary Gensler becomes scrutinized again, it's not looking good right now for the SEC at all. With the House, returning his votes, him losing every single pretty much battle that's valuable to him, and then if he rejects the firm ETFs get taken to court again, this is very bad for the SEC and Gary Gensler. He'll be scrutinized even more. So there's a chance of that pressure on Gary Gensler as well for the approval scenario. Now, could Eric, because the news, regarding Eric and James suddenly changing their opinions, coming out and saying, no, we think it's going to be approved regarding Ethereum ETFs. Because 2 nights ago, they weren't so keen. And now all of a sudden they are. So there was another rumor going around that maybe Eric and James, the ETF specialist Bloomberg analysts, their Twitter accounts were hacked. Maybe, they tweeted that out randomly and because they were hacked. So could Eric and James, who announced the Ethereum Spot ETF good news, have been hacked? They released a statement, is the next news we're going through on tonight's live show. But before we do that, let's consider the comment section. So and by the way, I'm reading everybody's comments one by one as I always do. So if you have a question, put it down inside the comment section. I meant no stablecoin. You meant no stablecoin? XDC. Miles, when I was watching ETH moving up, it left a price cap at. Do you think it has to go back down to low to fulfill it? Possibility, yes. Good evening, Miles and all CMF. Iman, good to see you as well. How you doing? How's everyone going today? I'm doing great, Iman. How you been? Can everyone on YouTube click on the thumbs up button near the subscribe and share? Yes, please. If you are watching this, if you want to. Maybe is that's once Grayscales withdraw their option, they knew it would be approved. Maybe this helps to share the live. Yes, it does. Even Miles and CMF Pierce, good to see you as well. How you doing, Shelly? Thank you so much for saying that. No Drift, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Gensler is running out of ammunition. Now you are just seeing the desperation. Pretty much. Thomas, good to see you as well. How you doing? Either way, hello everyone. How you doing, Thomas? Hi everyone. Denise, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? So, was Eric and James' Twitter accounts hacked? And that's why they suddenly did a 360 and came out and said Ethereum ETFs are going to be approved. Because we have had a hacking situation regarding Bitcoin ETFs. And everybody remembers Gary Gensler's account. I mean, the SEC's account, but the two Bloomberg analysts who shared that the approval possibilities of Ethereum spot ETF applications, which made a big impact on the cryptocurrency market today, were strengthened and had to publish a statement. This positive news was which deeply affected the market, was approached with caution due to previous experiences of the cryptocurrency market. However, the two analysts stated that in their statements published on X that their accounts were not hacked. And James and Eric, James, one of the analysts who shared the Ethereum spot ETFs could be approved, announced that neither him nor his fellow analyst Eric were hacked in any sort of a way. He stated that the development was also confirmed by another cryptocurrency journalist as well. In her statement, Eleanor Torres said that a representative of one of the applicants' companies contacted her and essentially said that things were changing in real time. Okay, regarding the Ethereum ETF situation, not only is Eric and James, suddenly changing their opinions and Ethereum ETFs are going to be approved in their opinion, and they have been correct. They were very correct on the timeline on the Bitcoin ETFs, and all of a sudden changed their opinions. And the reason why they all of a sudden changed their opinions overnight regarding 25% to 75% approval for Ethereum ETFs is because they got an inside word situation where apparently one of these companies that's involved in the ETF situation called this journalist and said that things are changing in real time regarding the Ethereum spot ETFs, and it was within the busy agenda. So it was confirmed by Terrent that there has been some changes in the SEC stance regarding these spot Ethereum ETFs, and things are changing in real time. So Gary Gensler must be really desperate to do something. Now, before we read the next news, Prometheus Spot launches, and this one's actually quite interesting as well, regarding Prometheus Spot launches Ethereum custody services as well. Interesting enough, same timing as the Ethereum ETF situation that's going around. Gary Gensler all of a sudden changing his opinion. Profemium essentially Spot launches an Ethereum custody service as well. Now, if you wonder who's Profemium, well, Profemium is the only platform that's actually ever been green-lighted by the SEC and Gary Gensler. Interesting enough, there are actually former members of the SEC working in Profemium as well. And this is getting somehow green-lighted on the sidelines at the same time that there's a possibility of a green light on regarding Ethereum Spot ETFs as well. So we're going to be going through that next on tonight's live show, because it all coordinates together. But before we do that, let's go to the comment section. Professor Miles, I must admit, you have created such a nice family. Let's go, funky brother. Hi all. Jim, good to see you. How you doing? All good, thank you. How have you been? I'm doing great. No drift. How you been? I don't trust anyone with crypto in their name and using a green screen. Yes, this is a green screen. You can obviously tell because it's went disappeared multiple times with the platform that I'm using. But regarding, if you don't trust anybody with a crypto in their name and using a green screen, then that's completely your choice. What's up, Miles, and what's up, CMF? Kerry, good to see you. How you doing? What is XRP news? Well, we haven't got to the XRP Ripple news yet. We're going through the Ethereum news so far, but it's in the middle of the live show. And any reason for the pump today? The reason for the pump today is because of Eric and James. Eric and James essentially were the catalyst for the Ethereum pump today. The Bloomberg specialist ETF analysts were the catalyst for the Ethereum sudden jump, because they've been correct on the Bitcoin ETF timeline, and all of a sudden they came out and said from within Inside Chatter, there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of things happening in real time, essentially, regarding Ethereum ETFs, and the possibility of being approved is incredibly high now. And because of those two tweets, and because of where the two people who they are, it came from, all of a sudden boost inside the market space. That's the reason we've had that catalyst situation on Ethereum ETFs right now. Looking for a safe crypto asset to buy and sell during the bull run. Any opinions on what to look into? Contracts. If you're looking for crypto projects, that are on the legitimate side, contracts. Look at who they're working with, what they're trying to build. The bigger the name that's contracted to them, actual contracts, not imaginary deals, the better it is, the more success the crypto project will have. Because the narrative right now is all about institutions, regulations, banks. So if it's a crypto project that's working with institutions, regulations, in terms of regulations, it's a positive for it, and it's working with institutions and banks in terms of contracts, then it has a future to look out for. That's going to do well, and that's where the money is going to be entering towards. What can you tell me about Viot? I'll tell you right now. Hi, Pacific, good to see you. How you doing? Regarding Viot, one of their biggest partnerships is IBM, and IBM is, got a, also just from perspective, IBM has a crypto fund, well, an AI fund and a crypto fund. They have a fund of $500 million. So IBM created a fund of essentially $500 million to invest using that fund into AI and crypto projects moving forward. Now, I'm not saying obviously IBM is going to put $500 million into in any sort of way into Viot, but they could even give it a crumb to build on the developments. So Viot's biggest partnership is IBM, and that's massive. And according to the Blockchain Association that came out on the stats and data, one of the top companies that's going to be revolutionizing the crypto space moving forward, the number one company actually on the list was IBM. And that's their biggest partner. So what does this mean for the market when the ETF gets approved? Well, the market goes on an absolute crazy rise again. I don't think we will see the rejections anymore of cryptocurrency regulations, including ETFs. Miles, do you think that the ETH will go up more, or shall I exchange it for USDC? There's a possible look. If it gets approved, obviously it's going to be going higher, because right now what's pushing it is rumors. When it gets approved, what's actually going to be pushing it is institutions, and that's a whole nother price set. So right now, up to you, I would have to say. Do you want to wait for the approval, or do you want to sell it in the rumor situation? Now, Prometheus. Soft launches Ethereum custody services. The continuations digital asset platform Prometheus has soft launched essentially an Ethereum custody service in preparation for a full crypto service launch later this quarter as well, which will be overseen by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission as well. Prometheus has chosen Ethereum as the first digital currency for its crypto custodial services, essentially, and the company had initially intended to launch their services in the first quarter of 2024, but they didn't, and they're going to be launching actually quite soon now. However, it soft launched the product on Friday from an unidentified small group of organizations with plans to fully introduce custody services in June. And Aaron Kappel, the co-founder and CEO of Profemium, allegedly informed that trading services would start in the quarter. And this is what he said, word for word. It eliminates a lot of arguments that things can't be done under existing laws, Kaplan told Future. It marks the first time that an investment contract, digital asset security, is being custodian and treated under the securities laws. You know what's interesting about this is, regarding Profemium, it has former members of the SEC working for it, first of all. They have former members of the SEC working for Profemium, and it's the only platform that's been green-lighted ever by the SEC, interesting enough, because they have SEC members within Profemium platform, and they're only going to be using Ethereum so far. And on top of all of that, they're going to be launching Ethereum as a security on Profemium. So that's an interesting one, because we're getting prepared for Ethereum ETFs on one side, and things are changing in real time, according to Eric and James, Bloomberg ETF analysts. And they've been correct. They've been correct on point, Eric and James, without a doubt. And on the other side, we have Profemium silently launching. Some organizations are coming out, and Profemium is launching. They have SEC members, the only platform greenlighted by the SEC, and they're launching Ethereum under the category of securities, interesting enough. And they have SEC members working for them, and they're the only platform greenlighted by the SEC fully. And Profemium's controversial position about security status of several assets, including Ethereum, allowed it to break out into the digital currency ecosystem. Ethereum is regarded as a security under existing federal legislations, according to Profemium's soft launch of the Ethereum custody services. Profemium's Ethereum custody services targets banks, asset managers, and hedge funds focused on cryptocurrencies. Profemium is set to join the growing Ethereum ecosystem supported by the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, and the SEC. Profemium's debut of its Ethereum custody services has raised security concerns. The SEC's decision on spot Ethereum ETFs is pending right now, with rumors suggesting that Ethereum may be classified as a security by the SEC under Chairman Gary Gensler, there is actually quite a lot of scenarios going on. Changing in real time, ETFs for Ethereum are going to be, approved. Gary Gensler may be trying to still go after Ethereum. And then we have Profemium launching Ethereum as a security under their categories with their licensings. If this is accomplished, the agency will come up with a valid reason this week to reject VanEck and ARC21 shares bids. But now that Profemium's ETF custody services has launched, the organization may be able to point to a strong substitute product. So let's see how that one plays out, because it's quite interesting regarding Profemium what's going on. Having having SEC members work for them, the only platform that's approved by the SEC. They're only launching Ethereum, but they're launching it as under the category of securities. And then on the other side, we have Ethereum ETFs changing in real time on the verge to be approved. So the next news to go through on tonight's live show is Blockchain Association. Blockchain Association calls for a FIT21 House vote. So recently, we obviously had that major House vote where everybody went against the SEC and Gary Gensler, as they should. Then now we have two more votes coming up, which are also going to revolutionize in the crypto space. And one of them is this one, the FIT21 House vote, which we're going to be going from tonight's live show. But before we do that, let's go inside the comment section. So, before we do that, let me see where I was. I was here. Mouse, do you think that, oh, I already read that one, actually. Is this the bull season? It's a catalyst for it. Ethereum ETFs get approved? Yes. This might be a sell the rumor and buy the news situation. It could also be that scenario as well. If it gets approved, is it thanks to Hong Kong's, in your opinion? Possibility. There's a lot of factors that play into it, but it also could be, as what Funky Brother said as well, there's a lot of outcomes on the table because just the Profemium situation is very, very odd. There's things changing in real time, and that's coming from Eric and James, who have some respected opinions inside the analyst space and regarding the ETF space especially. So Eric and James overnight changing their opinions pretty much and saying, because in their own words, they did a 180 on green-lighting essentially Ethereum ETFs in their opinions, from 25% chance of approval to 75% overnight. And they're saying it's because of inside chatters, for example, is what they're calling it. So on one side, you have Eric and James, who were correct on the Bitcoin ETFs and could be correct again on the same timeline of the Ethereum ETFs. On the other side, we have Profumium launching silently on the sidelines, the only platform approved by the SEC, the only platform that has quite a lot of SEC members working inside of it, and the only platform that's going to be launching Ethereum first under the SEC organization. But they're going to be launching on the category of securities, interesting enough. And then it could also be the other outcome of buy the rumor, sell the news. It could be that scenario as well. There's quite a lot of outcomes on the table because all of this is overnight. I mean, just yesterday, many CEOs, including Eric and James, were giving out their opinions of they don't think it's going to be happening, they don't think it's possible. And that was just yesterday. And today, they all did a 180 in their own words, and they're coming out and saying, well, we think it's going to be approved now. So, and they're saying things are changing in real time. But the Profumium one's just, it's very confusing. We're going to Profumium one. Why are they launching on under the category of essentially securities? Now, if it gets approved, thanks to Hong Kong, there's a possibility of that scenario as well. Do you think it's good to sell Gala now? I'm on a profit on it. Sure. If you want to, not financial advice. I personally would, not financial advice in any sort of way. I got my tantrum 2 days ago. Will you kindly guide me on what to do next, especially setting things up? Yes. Lena, no problem. Lena, direct message me and I'll send you a step-by-step guide. No problem. Eric and James said that XRP and SEC have to come to an agreement and settlement. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Would ETFs start a bull run? They could potentially be the catalyst for a bull run type of situation. Yes, definitely. The market needs another hype situation, and this could be the scenario of it. What are the implications of Profumium classifying Ethereum as a security? Does that affect ETF? There's a possibility of it. Kai B, there's a possibility of it because it's odd. Profumium trying to classify it as an Ethereum as an ETF, approved by the SEC. They're already approved by the SEC, have SEC members working within them, and they're going to be categorized it as a security. But at the same time, we're getting word coming in. There's a high approval chance of Ethereum ETFs, and then that means the SEC is not going to be classified as a security. But then Profumium is at the same time. You see where the confusion comes in. But it could have effects on it, or maybe Ethereum last second changes their category on Ethereum. They can also do that as a possibility. Any swapping my Gala to? I'm swapping my Gala to Ethereum. Chillzone, prices are too high right now. Never chase green candles. Never ever chase green candles. Good evening, CMF and Miles. Crypto J, good to see you. How you doing? No, Miles, they have already come to a settlement. XRP VSEC lot. If I come to a settlement. Now, Blockchain Association. Blockchain Association calls for a FIT21 House vote. The Blockchain Association has called for a full House floor vote on the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, FIT21. Or HR 4763 is what they're also calling it. The association made the appeal in a letter on Monday to U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson and the Minority Leader Hakeem essentially Jeffries as well. In the letter, the Blockchain Association emphasized the importance of regulatory clarity when it comes to the U.S. digital asset industry. Industry heavyweights show support for a full House vote. The House Republicans stated today on X that the full chamber will vote on the FIT21 bill this week. The FIT21 bill that they're going to be voting this week is incredibly going to be changing the crypto space inside the United States without a doubt. It also can have implications worldwide. As the International Monetary Fund said, the International Monetary Fund and the Bank of International Settlements once said, if America sneezes, the global markets catch a cold, in other words, worldwide situation. So, with the United States coming out with a bill like this, it could, widespread into other jurisdictions as well. Let's not forget there are G20 country and G20 countries signed a declaration, G20 summit in New Delhi last year, to be on the same sets of rules. So there's a possibility of that happening also. Now, the industry heavyweights show a support for the full House vote. The House Republicans stated on X today that the full chamber will vote on the FIT21 bill this week. However, industry heavyweights such as Ripple, Kraken, and Circle have already signed a letter by the Blockchain Association. The letter indicated that there has been no specific targeted market regulations in the blockchain and digital asset market space since the birth of blockchain network in 2009. Which is true. The SEC has not came out with a single regulation in any sort of a way to help advance the crypto space at all. They've only just been trying to stifle it. So I understand why they're sending this letter and why the FIT21 bill is very important. The letter reads, since the inception of Bitcoin network in 2009, the blockchain and digital asset industry has existed without targeted market regulations. The absence of clear rules leads to confusion inside the marketplace for companies and leaves users and consumers unprotected. The regulatory hurdles inside the US crypto industry. Regulators inside the US, especially the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), have been criticized for their stance with respect to crypto regulations. The SEC's policies of regulations by enforcement has been viewed as harsh and anti-crypto, which might lead the American companies to move abroad and inhibit technological progress inside the United States. According to the letter by the Blockchain Association, the absence of regulatory clarity obstructs innovation and makes America look bad in the world of technology. The letter continued, we are seeking pro-innovation and pro-consumer guardrails to ensure a fair and safe marketplace and to safeguard US technological leaderships in this cutting-edge space. If the FIT21 is approved, the FIT21 bill that's going to be voted in next week essentially, if the FIT21 bill is approved, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, would have superior power over digital asset regulations and also increase legal protection for crypto users globally. You see how this is going to revolutionize the crypto space regarding the FIT21 bill. Because this is massive. They're going to have superior power moving forward, the CFTC, and how they're going to be increasing legal protection for crypto users globally. The FIT21 bill that's going to be voted inside the United States. You thought the bill that they overturned something Gary Gensler said was major. No, this is major regarding the FIT21 bill. Congress moves forward with crypto legislations. The drive for a House vote on FIT21 comes as crypto legislations in general is gaining increased momentum inside the United States Congress, following the approved resolution that came out regarding the SEC controversial accounting bulletin SAB 121 that recently got overturned. President Joe Biden earlier obviously stated that he would veto the attempt to reject the SAB 121, which we discussed as well, emphasizing substantial financial instability and market uncertainty should be signed off on the resolution. Now, moreover, President Biden may change his stance if there is a strong support against the SEC's crypto guidance. Political considerations might influence the legislators' discussions to support or oppose the Financial Innovation and Technology Act of 2021, FIT21. With the 2024 US elections underway, including numerous state primaries, figures such as Senator Elizabeth Warren, who's an absolute waste of oxygen, have emphasized that their stance on regulation and supervision of digital currencies as the US election draws near. So the FIT21 bill, massive, because it gives the CFTC more power over everything when it comes to cryptocurrencies rather than the SEC. Second, it shows also full transparency of what's happening inside the crypto space, which is what we need inside the crypto space as well. Third, the CFTC actually came out, Rustam Benham, who is the CFTC chairman, has made multiple statements as, if he is the person in charge of trying to regulate cryptocurrencies, he said, I can regulate cryptocurrencies within 6 months to a year. He was on record stating if he was in charge of regulating cryptocurrencies, he would regulate it within 6 months to a year. And he actually said that the majority of these crypto projects like Ethereum and so on, are not securities, is what CFTC chairman Rustam Benham said multiple times. So the FIT21 bill that's coming up next week, if that gets approved and signed in, then the CFTC will be the one carrying the light or torch, for example, inside the crypto space, and the one that's going to be bringing out the regulations, having the superior authority, which means Gary Gensler, essentially the chairman of the SEC, becomes a nobody. He'll still have a title, but that's about it. Obviously, he can still throw speed bumps in the middle of it as well, but the CFTC has superior power. Because they can't fire Gary Gensler. It's impossible to fire him. The only person that can fire Gary Gensler is pretty much the United States president. And unfortunately, the United States president is, well, let's just say he shares the same brain cells as a goldfish. So, that's good news. That's absolutely bullish news. That's going to be coming out regarding that Fit 21 bill. That gets approved. It's going to change everything, not just for the United States, but globally perspective. And America is the number one market, the dominant market, let's just say. Now, next news to go from tonight's live show. 40.3 increase in investments by crypto venture investors in Q1. There has been a 40.3% increase in investments by crypto ventures. Now, these companies, these startup companies that are getting funded, left, right, and center from these VC companies, they're not being funded anymore. VC companies right now, according to the data, are more focused on blockchain startups and AI startups than any other startup that's came about. They're heavy footing, essentially, inside the blockchain sector, VC companies. They're funding back-to-back, essentially, blockchain startups. And it's about a 40.3% increase. Now, what does that tell you? What does that show? Well, it shows that, one, they're taking the crypto space a lot more seriously. The crypto space become a lot more mature place. A lot more money is going to be entering the crypto space. And it shows that, that stance inside the corporate sector as well. Okay, maybe this is a sector we should be looking into. If venture companies are going headfirst into investments, mainly for blockchain companies, about 40.3% increase. The data just came out. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section, which is extremely bullish as well. Now, before we go through that, let me see where I was inside the comment section, because I'm reading everybody's comments one by one, as I always do. I'm sweeping. Yeah, good evening. CMF and Miles, Crypto J, let's go. How you doing? Will ACH be $10 one day, in your opinion? Is it possible? Is ACH possible to be $10 one day? Yes. Yes, it's possible, highly possible. ACH has so many contracts to their name, so many licenses to their name. They're heavy inside the financial sector. One day becoming $10? Yeah, definitely. No Miles, they have, yeah, I've already read that one. Never chase green candles, instead chase the gold candles. If it gets approved, it lines up perfectly with Ripple case, ending June, July, plus the analyst. True as well. Hope you're well, Miles. Zach, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been, Zach? From Bank of America. Yes, that's true as well. Actually, the Bank of America scenario as well regarding July. That's true. I made a good move and regarding what I meant by Bank of July on this live show about a few nights back, because all the live shows are pre-recorded on X and YouTube, so you can always watch them. After the live show finished, it posts automatically on the platform. A few nights ago, I revealed that the Bank of America's analyst said that something major is going to be happening in July in terms of centralized banks, where something major is, in their own words, the analyst from Bank of America said something major is going to be happening in terms of centralized banks in July. You can go read that as well regarding the Bank of America analyst. I made good money on ETH today, 5x, 10x, and 50x leverage. Let's go, chill zone. It's absolutely amazing. Let's go. Doesn't at all. What doesn't? Apologies about that, everyone. So, is it possible to see XRP price beyond 20,000 one day? Yes. One day, yes. Now, 40.3% increase in investments by crypto venture investors Q1. PitchBook, an industry and technology research platform, shared reports of investments by venture capitals, VCs, for the first quarter of 2024. In the second week of May, the report emphasized the growth in the number of deals and the amounts of investments from venture capitalists in the crypto space. As per the investment reports from PitchBook for Q1 of 2024, the investments inside the crypto sector from venture capitals are found to be increasing. The number of quarterly deals followed up on the uptrend after 2021. So after 2021, everything started picking up regarding the blockchain space until now, fast forward to today. PitchBook's latest emerging tech research reported 518 ventures capital deals worth $2.4 billion, booking an increase of 44.7% and 40.3% respectively. In the published report of Q1 2024, Robert Lee, senior analyst at PitchBook, highlighted the factors supporting the growth of vertical forward as well as new areas of focus for investors. The areas of focus include startups working to bring blockchain technology to social media, as well as utilizing cryptographic and techniques to solve challenges in data integrity and privacy. These are the topics that VC companies are only aiming to fund right now. You remember when there was a time when no VC company, no corporation wanted to even touch blockchain projects? Now VC companies are going headfirst on funding blockchain ventures. The data is there to prove it, a 40.3% increase, which is a ridiculous percent of increase. Which again shows that the crypto space is maturing. It shows that confidence inside the crypto space for corporations to come through as well. The venture investments are mostly attracted to organizations working in areas of blockchain networks, infrastructure and developer tools, access to Web3 and DeFi. That is only what the venture companies are right now interested in funding. Nothing else matters for them. Blockchain networks, infrastructure and developer tools, access, Web3 and DeFi. VC activity in crypto decodes. The crypto fundraising increased substantially in the Q1, raising $2.4 billion from 518 deals. Clearly, a positive investor sentiment is back in the market post the major market downturns in the previous quarters. Analysts expect the volume and pace of investments to continue throughout the year. That's true as well, because as we go through these years higher and higher, we're going into essentially utility. Everybody forgot the main part of cryptocurrencies inside the crypto space was utility. So yes, as the months go by, as the years go by, we're going to be going more and more obviously in utility, which means more and more investments, which means the crypto space becomes a much more mature place. As the years go by, more money enters it into legitimate projects, and if you're positioned correctly in legitimate projects, you're well off. You're going to do very good. Infrastructural startups bagged the highest funding during the year, with the largest rounds raised by EigenLayer, the Ethereum staking program, which raised $100 million in Series B fundings, and Zelma, the fully encryption FHE development program, which bagged $73 million in Series A fundings. Together, AI, the developer of an open source decentralized cloud platform for large foundation models, achieved the largest deal of the quarter, raising $106 million in the early stage, essentially round at the pre-money valuation of $1.1 billion, led by Salesforce Ventures. In previous quarters, the firm raised Series A fundings of $102.5 million at a pre-money valuation of $463.5 million. The major reason for the successful fundings and tremendous growth in the valuation is the broader nature of the decentralized physical infrastructures, network segments, and the segment is expected to grow throughout the year, attracting investor attention. So crypto is far from dead. It's just going to be going higher and higher and higher and higher with manipulation, corrections, and so on, as I previously said as well. Now, comparing growth and other driving forces. In comparison to the whole of 2023, valuations have grown significantly across all stages for the quarter. The average pre-valuation money for the seed stage was reportedly $21.8 million. For the early stages, it was $72 million. At the later stage, had an average valuation of $51.1 million. It represents a essentially year-on-year growth of 85.5%, 148.3%, and 7.6% increase. This is tremendous growth and mirrors the increase in competition among VCs, mostly for early stage investment opportunities. It is assorted that the higher valuation of early stage deals in comparison into late stage deals. The sizes of investment deals are also showing strong growth, as the average size of the seed stage funding round was 2.7 million. Now it's 5 million for the early stages and 5.8 million for the late stages. It represents an increase of 24.9%, 25%, and a decrease of 9.7% in the complete year of 2023. Now, fast forward to today. Notably, this research is subject to some flaws of some essentially size examples of the research is relatively small, or is it based on the data for a single quarter? This trend will be more viable in the coming quarters. So, that is absolutely massive, regarding the bullish sector of it, where the crypto space is being taken seriously by VC companies, which shows that confidence inside the crypto space makes it look mature, especially for corporations to come heavy-footed with all their money as well. You can see the interest is growing. If you want to see is interest growing or not on the crypto space in terms of corporations, well, if VCs are going head first, mainly for blockchain, Web3, and DeFi sector regarding startup companies, there's definitely interest there from VCs, which means there's interest from corporations as well. Now, Programmable Bitcoin blockchain, the key to triggering the next explosive price surge. Now, I talked about the idea of programmable Bitcoins yesterday on this live show, about a new platform that's being funded right now by a VC company for programmable Bitcoins. But we're going to be going through more on that after I go through the comment section, just in case anybody's got any comments to go through. By the way, if you're watching this for the first time ever, if you have any comments, put it down inside the comment section. I'm reading everybody's comments one by one on YouTube or X, depending on where you're watching. Doesn't really matter. Put down your comments. I'm reading everybody's one by one. Is it possible to see Excel? Yeah, I already said that. Here we go. Person who hacked Gala, he swapped 500 million Gala to 5,000 ETH. Another reason for ETH pump today, which is also true as well. BTC over 70,000. Yes, I saw. I just got a notification. Programmable Bitcoin blockchains, the key to triggering the next explosive price surge. Now, interesting enough, yesterday also on this live show, I was telling everybody, never sit on the sidelines. I was talking about an article that I shared with everybody yesterday, and how I said to everybody, never sit on the sidelines. If you're ever uncertain of how the market is, have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Is what I was saying yesterday to everybody. And I said that the corporate sector are still inside the crypto sector, and I reviewed the 13F filings to everybody for these past few days, and I said they're still inside the corporate sector. They're still buying, but the retail section is sitting on the sidelines while the corporates are slowly buying in still. And I said, if whenever you're onshore, essentially, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, never sit on the sidelines, because you never know which way it could go. That's why you're uncertain. So 1 foot in, 1 foot out is the best option. And I said this to everybody as well. Regarding the Bitcoin ETFs, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So it turned out I was right regarding that matter. Could be right on this one as well. Who knows? Programmable Bitcoin blockchain, the key to triggering the next explosive price surge. Following the launch of the first US spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds, ETFs, in January and last month's halving event, crypto investors have been waiting for the next major catalyst to propel Bitcoin to new heights beyond its current records of 73,700 that was set on March 14th. According to a recent Bloomberg report, for a growing chorus of developers, the answer may lie in improving the cryptocurrency's core, blockchain, and greater programmability. The next chapter in crypto. Bitcoin has long been viewed as a primarily essentially of digital gold, doing little beyond classic transactions. In the contracts, the Ethereum network has gained a reputation for its smart contract functionalities, with applications ranging from lending and borrowing to yield farming regarding Ethereum. A wave of upcoming new projects is working to bring this kind of programmable flexibilities to the Bitcoin blockchain. Using techniques like the Ordonez protocols for embedding data in BTC's smallest units, the Satoshis, and developers are reportedly opening up new possibilities for creating tokens and smart contracts and even decentralized applications, dApps, directly on the Bitcoin network. It's a huge unlock for Bitcoin, said Kyle, the co-founder of crypto investment firm Multicoin Capital, which recently led a $7 million funding round for Arch, a startup essentially building a programmable platform on top of Bitcoin. A programmable platform. According to the report, Arch, which is expected to open all developers as early as this month, will allow apps built on the Solana blockchain to be ported to run on BTC. So apps that are being built on Solana can be ported over to the Bitcoin network and be continued building essentially or expanding on the Bitcoin network instead of being on the Solana network. So they're introducing quite a lot of programmable features. They have a $7 million funding also that's came out through for them as well. They're going to be launching this month as well. Some of the 20 teams are building Ordonez-based applications for borrowing, lending, decentralized exchanges, and stablecoins. They venture out quite a bit inside different categories. In Bitcoin, for example, the Layer 1 Foundation is also developing a programmable module for the BRC20s meta protocols, which stores executable codes directly on the Bitcoin blockchain. This approach is set to take advantage of BTC's relatively longer block confirmation times, 10 minutes compared to Ethereum's 12 seconds, to enable more complex scenarios. Can Bitcoin's DeFi ecosystem eclipse Ethereum? Despite these advances, Not everyone is convinced that Bitcoin's programmability will be the key to its next rally. Jeff, for example, a former BTC Core developer, believes that the layer 2 scaling solutions will ultimately win out because they can offer cheaper transaction costs than running applications natively on the network. Still, prominents of programmable BTC are betting that this new wave of decentralized finance, DeFi applications, could be a major driver growth. Toby Lewis, the founder of Ordano's bot, stated on the matter, Bitcoin's DeFi ecosystem could grow to the largest in all of crypto. It is possible that the Bitcoin DeFi ecosystem could grow to trillions of dollars of market cap over the next few years, and it appears to be one of the major drivers of growth inside the crypto cycle. If these predictions come to truth, the community may have found the long-awaited catalyst to initiate the cryptocurrency's next major price surge. Okay, that is what their perspective is on essentially the next price surge regarding Bitcoin and so on. And yes, it's obviously going to be helping. Obviously, if we do find a scenario of to help essentially the Bitcoin network to make it faster and cheaper and so on, yes, it's definitely going to help Bitcoin and everybody else who's using Bitcoin. And also to build on Bitcoin, yes, that's going to be great as well, without a doubt. So far, everything has failed. And is that going to be the one that pushes Bitcoin up to new heights, being able to build on Bitcoin? Well, I'll tell you what. If we are capable on building on Bitcoin, making it faster and cheaper, it's definitely going to help the Bitcoin mining institutions to maintain themselves because they'll make a lot of money on fees, which means the Bitcoin mining institutions can, expand on the Bitcoin network and make a decent profit for themselves as well, or a lot of profit, and be able to maintain themselves. Unlike before, which they couldn't. After each Bitcoin halving, they were pretty much broke. Now, the other scenario of, is that going to be the only catalyst for Bitcoin and so on? No. The major catalyst for Bitcoin is obviously going to be more institutions putting more money down, which they will, because 937 institutions, according to SEC 13F filings, are inside. 937 corporations are inside the Bitcoin ETF space. And they've only, let's say across the board, invested about 0.05% of their incomes into it. One of them holding quite a ridiculous amount. So I would say that is more of a major catalyst, coming in more heavy-footed, more ETFs launching, rather than the whole programmability situation that's going to be happening on the Bitcoin network that they're trying to be working on regarding Arch, the startup company that's been funded $7 million to help fix Bitcoin. But anyways, wish them the best. I hope that really does work out for them. And, who doesn't want to see Bitcoin cheaper and faster? Now, Brazil is the next news we're going to be talking about tonight's live show, because something major is happening in Brazil. And not only is Coinbase interested in Brazil, and not only is Ripple interested in Brazil, but BlackRock is also interested in Brazil. And do you know how BlackRock is interested in Brazil? Well, because about 3 weeks ago on this live show, so I do this live show that you're watching right now, I do it every single night, and about 3 weeks ago, if you go 3 weeks down on the episodes, I was talking about BlackRock and how they're essentially expanded into the Bitcoin ETF space regarding Brazil, and they're going to be doing much more ventures in Brazil, and that's what BlackRock said they're going to be doing, and they are doing, and they saw Brazil as the new hotspot for them. Now the reasoning wasn't clear because Brazil wasn't doing much on the regulations, let's say, and so on. But now the reasoning becomes very clear regarding why BlackRock chose Brazil about 3 weeks before, or 4 weeks before, Brazil announcing essentially, going to be going into full regulation regarding crypto assets, and how Circle is now interested in Brazil, and so is Ripple also interested in Brazil. But BlackRock did this movement about 3 to 4 weeks before this news even came out, interesting enough. So, Brazil's crypto market is setting an example for the world. An interview with Coinbase's Fabio Plin. Before we do go through that, let's go to the comment section, just in case anybody's got any questions for me to answer before I go through that. Short screen scenario. Wouldn't this make the Bitcoin network much slower? Well, they're trying to make it faster, ironically. When is the Ocean AJX swap? 26, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like selling Solana for XDC. I feel like selling Solana for XDC if you want to. So, Brazil's crypto market is setting an example for the entire world. An interview with Coinbase's Fabio Plin. Digital currency trends may shift, coincidentally, but Brazil appears to offer firm support with its innovative spirit and straightforward regulatory approach. This supportive environment has led to a boom in the country's crypto purchases, with cryptocurrency imports reaching $14.8 billion in the last 12 months, as of March. Aimed this growth, Coinbase, one of the world's leading cryptocurrency exchanges, has made significant strides in Brazil. Classified as a go deep market in Coinbase's growth strategy, Brazil's large, tech savvy population aligns perfectly with the company's vision. Mike spoke with Fabio, and the regional managing director, Americas, essentially at Coinbase, to gain deeper insights into how Coinbase is navigating this dynamic market space. Powered by Go Mining, this conversation is a part of essentially the ongoing crypto interviews series that's going on regarding crypto CEOs and executives having a conversation together. Now, Brazil's favorable regulatory landscape starts to pay off. According to a report by Valo, purchases from foreign cryptocurrency exchanges considered imports have set new records in Brazil, impacting the nation's trade balance. In March, the country's cryptocurrency purchases totaled $14.84 billion on a yearly basis, up from the $12.3 billion in the previous year. And additionally, in the quarter one of 2024, crypto imports accounted to $4.69 billion, a 118% increase just in the first quarter of 2024. And the previous years were in the billions as well. This growth is largely attributed to the country's favorable cryptocurrency regulations. Fabio, the regional managing director of Americas, essentially at Coinbase, took part in meetings with the Brazilian government before forward-looking crypto legislation was released. We are heartened by the constructive postures of Brazilian policymakers who understand the value of crypto and Web3, plain said. He highlights that the public consultation was essential for essentially consolidating a robust and comprehensive set of rules for the crypto industry. He believes that Brazil's law will contribute to the development of the crypto ecosystem, allowing players in the sector to remain innovative. Major markets like Brazil are working on providing regulatory clarity and essentially setting an example for the rest of the world. The initiatives launched by Governor Roberto on blockchain digital assets and other innovations are promising and helping to shape the financial markets of the future, Fabio explained. Targeting Brazil for growth aimed young tech-savvy population and strong crypto adoption. Coinbase views Brazil as a priority market classified as go deep in its growth strategy. Plain points out that Brazil's large and young population, which embraces new technology, aligns with Coinbase's vision. The fact that the country has a large 215 million and young population of average of 32 years old that embraces the new technologies and ranked 9th in the Global Crypto Adoption Index chain analysis confirms our vision. Our approach globally consists with our approach in the United States. We work with governments and regulators in different markets, and we will always aim to be the most trusted and compliant crypto company in any market. Brazil's economy has been much more stable in recent decades, but the high inflation fear and concerns are still remembered for many parts of the society. For that reason, we see a strong adoption of certain digital assets such as BTC and stablecoins. Customizing products for Brazil with focus on regulatory clarity and essentially security. Now, this is all bullish for worldwide scenarios because one, other countries will look at Brazil and go, well, if they're doing it, then we can do it as well. Two, corporations within Brazil are going to be much more heavy-footed on crypto assets, which means the market, regarding corporations, we're going to get that money coming in, that avenue stream coming in. Obviously, towards legitimate projects inside the crypto space, not random projects or zoo tokens. So all this is bullish in worldwide type of scenario as well. Customizing products for Brazil with focus on regulatory clarity and security. Plain emphasizes Coinbase's commitment to product customization for Brazilian users. This is what he said, word for word. We say that Brazil is a promising market. It's working on providing regulatory clarity, and that this will contribute to the development of the crypto ecosystem in Brazil, allowing players in the sector to remain innovative. This absolutely includes us, he states. Plain highlights the integration of PIX for easy account top-ups using Brazilian reals, which makes it easier for people in Brazil to access the crypto economy. They're opening their doors, essentially. In Brazil, we operate not only in accordance with local transparency and compliance standards, but also with the same security and transparency standards applied throughout the world, which have led us to be the most trusted and secure, essentially, exchange. Additionally, we hold 50 plus transparency and compliance licensings regarding Coinbase, and around 8% of our employees are dedicated to security and safety globally, aiming to strengthen developer community in Brazil with Base Ethereum Layer 2. This is when Base also has that growth that it needed. It could also come from Brazil. Plain believes that the on-chain is the next chapter of the internet, more fair, accessible, efficient, and transparent. He noted that there's going to be an interest in the development of decentralized applications, and Coinbase aims to establish an active community of Base users and developers in Brazil. So, if you're wondering, is Coinbase going to, what they're going to be doing to expand on their essentially Base network? How is that money avenue stream going to be coming into Base? Well, it's Brazil. Brazil is going to be the one that comes in with that avenue stream to Base for Coinbase. Therefore, one of our objectives for 2024 is to further strengthen our relationship with Brazilian developers through exclusive events and initiatives, so that we can leverage the Base ecosystem towards its full potential. This was said by Coinbase. Strengthening institutional partnerships to enhance crypto services in Brazil. If you just want to know how deep is Coinbase going into Brazil, not only doing massive events to get their Base networks up, not only getting green lighted by their government and so on, and trying to expand full into Brazil. And not only is Brazil coming out with massive regulations that's going to revolutionize their entire country, and not only are they sitting at number 9 inside the cryptos list of worldwide scenarios, but strengthening institutional partnerships to enhance crypto services in Brazil. This is the part where I was talking about where it's positive, it's very bullish worldwide, because one, countries will see Brazil and go, well, if they're doing it, we can do it. If it goes successful, which it will. 2, institutions within Brazil will become a lot more heavy-footed on their crypto investments. And this is where we get to that institutional side now, which is bullish because it's a new avenue stream coming inside the crypto sector. So Coinbase has formed institutional partnerships with Brazilian banks and fintechs, including a partnership with eBanks to integrate Pix for easy account top-up using regarding BRL. Coinbase is always focused on improving its platform and offering the best services and products for Brazilians, and we are constantly essentially attending to possible new investments in projects and partnerships with companies that contribute to the development of the crypto ecosystem around the world. We are committed to working with innovators to expand access to the crypto economy, to expand access to the crypto regarding Web3, and we aim to bring in regarding these benefits to even more Brazilians, plain said. Now, again, if you're wondering who is Plain and why is he speaking on behalf of Coinbase, it's because Plain essentially is the managing director at Coinbase, the regional managing director at Coinbase. He was the one doing the interview. He was the one talking all these things regarding essentially Brazil, regarding Coinbase expanding to. So massively bullish. Okay, regarding Brazil, first of all, coming out with a massive list of regulations to move forward with. That's extremely bullish. 2, as I said, more countries will look at Brazil and go, well, if they're doing it, we can move forward with regulations and cryptocurrencies. And Brazil's going to make a lot of money regarding their government on taxations and fees and so on. 3, this is massive for Coinbase. So if you're inside of Coinbase stock, it's definitely going to help Coinbase stock grow in value. 4, if you're holding anything on Base network, it's definitely going to add some value to the Base network because their main adventure is pushing the Base network in Brazil as much as they can as well. 5, if you're legitimate crypto projects, essentially inside the crypto space, corporations are now going to be coming in from the Brazilian sector as well, much more heavy-footed inside the crypto space because Coinbase is regulated, they have a license, they're going to be working with the Brazilian centralized banks and their governments, and which means corporations can come in comfortably. And Coinbase has that background with BlackRock, which shows that other confidence to corporations as well, and some other big players as well. So major things regarding that. regarding Coinbase and regarding the markets being pushed up to new price points. It's majorly bullish. Brazil. Now, talking on Brazil still. Brazil's crypto regulatory framework coming by this year. End of the year, the same. Latest. Nation's central bank says. Before we go through that regarding the timeline of it, before we do that, let's go to the comment section. If you have any comments, put down inside the comment section. I'm reading everyone's comments one by one as I always do. So, when is the Ocean AJAX 26? I feel like if you want to, on Ledger, AJX will be swapped automatically. Check with the X pages. BTC almost 72,000. Let's go for the update. ETH almost 3,700. Waiting for XRP's gold candle is what I'll say. Well, the case needs to go away before that happens. I'm a self-employed. Do I declare my crypto taxes end of the year or each time I sell? Chosen regarding taxes inside the crypto space. What I would say is, well, technically, crypto taxes is at the end. So it's when you do your regular taxes is where you're supposed to do your crypto taxes. Now, to keep track of your crypto purchases and sales, CMC, CoinMarketCap is free. Anybody can download it on Android or iOS. And then open up a portfolio for free, again on CMC. And then track your buys and sells. So when you buy a cryptocurrency, for example, on exchange, let's say Binance, you buy some Ethereum, for example, on Binance, you go to your CMC app, you type in, you've brought Ethereum on your portfolio, you add the date and time. And then one day when you sell a little bit of Ethereum, you go back to your CMC app, you put in the time and date and how much you sold. And then just track. And when it comes to tax season, you take that information to your accountant and say, this is my trades as well, add these in. It's an easy way to track it. Don't use Excel sheets. I mean, it's 2024. Nobody uses Excel sheets anymore for regarding cryptocurrency perspectives. You can also do AI to do that for you as well. But CMC, free app, you just type it in manually. You can also connect your Binance account to CMC. I wouldn't recommend that. You can also, there's multiple ways you connect to CMC, but it just manually seems better than connecting any sort of accounts or wallets. I use CoinStats. You can use CoinStats as well. They do it automatically. If you want to use CoinStats, I use both, but I prefer CMC. I prefer the manual situation. But CoinStats works as well. Take the data to your accountant when it's tax season. Currently adding transactions to my portfolio on CMC at the moment, so good. Let's go, Shelly. Yeah, honestly, CMC I prefer to CoinStats. I use both, but I prefer CMC. Shows your profits and loss and everything. Yes, that's true. It's the easiest one. Honestly, easiest platform. But Chosen, that's good as well. Just take that to your take that to your accountant when it's tax season. But no, you don't have to individually let them know. Rules can change, however, but as far as I'm aware, you don't have to let them know individually with every single trade. You just track it when it's tax season. You take that to your accountant, and then we'll add that in. And right now, it's actually, we're not going to talk too much about taxes because you can feel normal. So let's just move on from taxes, because just in case I say something I'm not supposed to, we go on taxes. Now, Brazil. Brazil's crypto regulatory framework coming by the end of the year, nation's central bank says. The Central Bank of Brazil said on Monday that it will unveil a regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies by the end of this year. Brazil's Central Monetary Authority said in a statement on Monday that the development of its crypto regulatory framework will be divided in several phases. The staged rollout effectively delays the South American countries' plans to regulate this virgin crypto assets industry, a move that would provide much needed clarity to token creators and virtual asset service providers, so Coinbase. The Central Bank of Brazil has identified at least 3 steps for developing a crypto regulatory framework. Those include conducting a public consultation on rules for digital asset providers. Business activities are developing and improving a complementary framework essentially for the regulation of VASPs, operations in Brazil. As a part of the framework development processes, the central banks also plan to conduct internal plannings related to stablecoins regulations, according to a statement. While the central bank's latest announcements signals essentially Brazilian officials remain committed to providing regulatory clarity for digital asset providers, crypto regulations in the country seem to be poised to come later than previously thought. Central Bank of Brazil Director of Regulations said last year in a congressional hearing that he plans for crypto regulations will be finalized by the end of this June. Brazil has been ramping up its push towards a regulating cryptocurrencies in the past 2 years. In 2022, the country's lawmakers passed a law granting the Central Bank of Brazil authority on regarding over digital asset regulations last December, and regarding banking officials launching a public consultation on the matter as well. So, according to the Central Bank of Brazil, by the end of the year, Brazil is pretty much going to be regulated fully inside the crypto space, which is massive news for the crypto space. As I said, this year is all about the world shifting into a digital space. I said this in 2023. I said 2023 is the end of the road, and 2024 is when the world starts shifting into a digital era. I said all of this in 2023. And I said whichever country that doesn't launch in 2024 is going to be launching in 2025. 2026, pretty much everyone's into it, and 2027 we're more into it. And 2028 is regarding 2027 is when the banks, HSBC, Lloyds Bank, NatWest Bank, Barclays Bank, and all those banks, the executives also mentioned it's going to be normal banks on the high streets. But yeah, honestly, this is massive news regarding Brazil. Brazil is doing some heavy movements inside the crypto space that's definitely going to be creating multiple avenue streams for the crypto space. In terms of corporations coming inside the crypto space, in terms of even other corporations using Brazil as their avenue inside the crypto space. And what I mean by that is BlackRock. About 3 weeks, 4 weeks before Brazil even came out with this news today, about 3 weeks, 4 weeks before, BlackRock announced out of nowhere they're going to be going heavy-footed into Brazil. Now, obviously, as I said, the news made no sense, but I still revealed it to everyone on this live show that BlackRock is doing this in Brazil out of nowhere. They decided this is where they want to set up things. And I said, this is interesting. I said, maybe there's a reason for it and so on. And now we know the reason. The reason is about 4 weeks after that news, Brazil just came out today and announced they're going to go fully regulating the crypto space. And it makes sense why BlackRock has decided to go heavy-footed into Brazil and create avenue streams for themselves inside of Brazil. And BlackRock's not going to be the only corporation that does this. A lot of corporations are going to think to themselves, we can probably use Brazil as a secondary headquarters, for example, to get ourselves inside the crypto space. Because one, they're regulating the crypto space fully. Two, they're going to be handing out licensings as well. And three, you can operate from the Brazilian markets on a global scale. And then ninth, inside the whole world for cryptocurrencies in terms of purchase power and volume. That's according to chain analysis. So again, this is massive news what Brazil is doing. Absolutely bullish. And we're in a cycle of regulations, institutions, and banks, which is basically what this is. That's the entire market narrative. I've been saying this for a very long time. That 2024, the entire narrative for 2024 is banks, is regulations, banks, and institutions. That's what the entire narrative is for 2024. And I said, if you're positioned well in actual legitimate crypto projects, and don't forget again that crypto is about utility, not if the logo looks cute enough for you to invest into it. And crypto is about utility. I said this multiple times to everyone. If you position yourself correctly inside the crypto space, you'll be well off. You'll be doing incredibly well for yourself because the banks and the corporations are going to be going towards those types of projects and funding those types of projects. And it's easy to tell. I said if you have a good project, if you have a good crypto project, it's easy to tell. Is contracts. Who is it working with? Is the easiest way to tell. Because there's a lot of crypto projects, I said, they're claiming to do real world assets and they're fast and they're cheap. And so nobody cares about that inside the corporation sector, okay? I'm from the corporate sector. And I said this multiple times. We don't care about who's the fastest, who's the slowest, who's the oldest, who's the newest, who does real world assets and who doesn't do. Nobody cares about that. Who they're working with is the most important part. Are they working with the bigger names? Because now everybody's interested. I'll give an example, AVAX. JP Morgan launched, obviously, their token Onyx on the Ethereum chain for corporations. But then for another purpose of tokenization purposes, they decided to go for AVAX on a subnet green. And then because of JP Morgan, Citibank all of a sudden became interested on a subnet green for AVAX as well. Do you see how it works inside a corporate? And this is just one example. There's multiple examples. But it's all about who are they working with. If you want to know if you have a good crypto project on your hands, contracts, actual PDF contracts, who they're working with. And you could tell, essentially, if they have a future in 5 years' time, what they're building on and who they're working with. Legitimate projects are the only ones that are going to get money coming in from these corporations. And I said this before as well. The reason why the market, did new heights regarding the Bitcoin ETFs beforehand was because of the corporations. About 937 corporations inside the market space, because they all filed a 13F filing with the SEC. So we know for a fact there's about 937 corporations that filed their 13F filings, and they all hold Bitcoin ETFs, including JP Morgan, Mr. I don't like Bitcoin. His clients do, but they're holding in JP Morgan. And corporations have all the money. All the money. So again, this is why this is massive. Regarding Brazil, this is absolutely massive. And we can see why BlackRock positioned themselves 4 weeks, 3 weeks before the news even came out. And we can see why Coinbase is positioning themselves as well. And we can also see how Coinbase was able to easily position themselves with the Brazilian authorities, with the Brazilian centralized bank, because who's behind, obviously, Coinbase? BlackRock and all the other big names all behind Coinbase as well, which means, obviously it was easier for them to get a sit down with the central banks and sit down with the authorities in Brazil. Because when you have BlackRock behind you, pretty much opens doors for you. Now, not only is BlackRock interested in Brazil, not only is Coinbase interested in Brazil because of this news, but also Ripple is interested in Brazil as well because of this news. And Ripple unveils Brazil's fund for supporting local XRP ledger projects. So remember how I said Coinbase decided to offer some, amenities for Brazilians to build on the base network. That's what Coinbase is doing right now. They're getting prepared to make Brazilians, invested into Coinbase and get them to build on the base network and bring that avenue stream to the base network. Well, Ripple has the same idea. Ripple has decided to launch an XRP local ledger fund for Brazilians to build on the XRP ledger as well. Brazil's becoming essentially a workaround for a lot of people now. Now, Ripple unveils Brazil's fund for supporting local XRP ledger projects. Before I read this news to you, let me go inside the comment section. One sec. Let me go inside the comment section, because I'm reading everybody's comments one by one as well inside the comment section, as I always do. Again, if you have any questions, put it down in the comment section. Waiting for the XRP to go down. I use stats. I was here. There is no chance that one of the two parties will go for an appeal. Yeah, there's zero chance, honestly. I use Livecoin Watch. I like it more than CMC. Okay. Self-snitching? Hell no. Is basically what the taxation is. My Gala is showing up on Kraken. And does that mean my Gala was not hacked and taken? Yeah, your Gala is safe. I mean, your Gala is safe. It's not hacked. The price point is compromised because of the hack. Your Gala is not hacked. So today, Gala was hacked for about $200 million. And that $200 million of hacked Gala was swapped into Ethereum, which also helped Ethereum push a little bit higher as well. Coincidentally, the hackers must have had their entry in, and they decided to wait for the last second to use their entry in into Gala at a perfect time. What more of a perfect time could it be? A scenario of a rumor of Ethereum ETFs. But yeah, your Gala is safe. Your Gala is not hacked. It's just the price point is compromised because of the hack. I've got to clarify that at the beginning of the live show. Mouse, can I point out that the tax on crypto that is held for less than 1 year is higher than long-term holding is over 12 months from purchases? Yes. What you have pointed out is true, yes. And they can avoid paying taxes in their country? Yes, they can. How you can avoid paying taxes, one of the ways that you can use to avoid paying taxes regarding cryptocurrencies in a very legitimate way is borrow against your crypto assets, and you don't pay taxes on debt. That's what the corporations are going to be doing very soon. That's why a lot of banks are going into crypto lending and borrowing services and so corporations. It's because none of these corporations want to be paying crypto taxes. So how do you skip on crypto tax in a very legitimate way? You borrow against your crypto assets, you use them as collateral, and you don't pay tax on debt. Because you will never catch BlackRock, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, or anybody of these calipers paying crypto taxes. Because they'll just borrow against the user as collateral, and you don't pay tax on debt. And you can do that from living in any country. You don't need to go to Dubai or Monaco or Kuwait or Bahrain to become tax-free. You can do that from any country. Now, Ripple unveils Brazil's fund for supporting local XRP ledger projects. As I said, Coinbase is not the only one pushing their base chain on the Brazilian citizens. Ripple has had the same idea as BlackRock and Coinbase. Ripple, the cryptocurrency services and payments company, has recently unveiled a local fund to support Brazilian-based projects using XRP Ledger, the XRP asset blockchain. Julia, the program manager of the XRP Ledger Grants program, stated that Brazil was the first country where this strategy would be implemented. Given the nation's openness to blockchain initiatives, Brazil's going to absolutely cake on this whole blockchain era. Ripple launches Brazil-specific funds for encapsulating essentially XRP Ledger projects. More companies are watching the development potentials in the Latin countries. Ripple, the cryptocurrency solutions company, recently launched a local fund to support Brazil-based projects using the XRP Ledger, XRP's blockchain, as a tool to enhance their functionalities. Julia, manager for the XRP Ledger Grants the program, stated that Brazil was the first country in which this local initiative would be implemented due to the different factors favoring blockchain initiatives. These include the country's advanced developer ecosystems, sophisticated digital payment infrastructures, and forward-thinking public policies regarding the tokenization of capital markets. While the company did not specify the amount allocated for this pilot fund, normally projects applying for the XRP Ledger grants get received between $10,000 to $200,000, essentially of an XRP Ledger grant. Site clarifies that awards of $100,000 and greater are typically destined to be allocated to a developer who already have completed a comparable project before. 2 Brazilian teams have been selected to be supported as the part of this push. Gostos, developing a product that uses the XRP Ledger as a vehicle to produce a white label platform for tokenizing assets, and Cointeams, developing a service to expedite blockchain-based micropayments in exchanges for completing several tasks, like complementing views, testing products, and making certain purchases. This is not the first time the program has supported Brazil-based initiatives, as it has granted funds to 4 more projects before, including Amero, Cryptimia, and Things Go Online. And the XRP Ledger sale of these projects leverage the XRP Ledger for different functions, from facilitating blockchain integration, essentially with other projects, to rewarding substantial actions with tokens. Yes, it's not the first time, but it's definitely going to be the much more heavy-footed version of the XRP Ledger. So Coinbase has decided to do this, and XRP Ledger has done this before, but not on this scale. They're going to do it at a much more larger scale now, regarding aiming for Brazil, because they're opening their doors big. Brazil's going to be fully regulated, and they're opening their doors very big. Everybody's more than welcome to come to Brazil's blockchain country now. Massive, absolutely massive news. Extremely bullish news as well regarding what Brazil's doing, because it's honestly, other countries are now looking at Brazil and going, if it becomes successful, we can follow Brazil's footsteps. And corporations right now in Brazil are thinking, we're about to make a lot of money. Hence why BlackRock decided to go there 4 weeks before the law came out. And if you're inside the crypto space on legitimate projects, you're also about to be well off. Now, Bank of England's Deputy Governor signals potential rate cuts and as inflation eases. This is according to the Bank of England. Apparently, the UK economy is doing a lot better as well. Before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. And again, it's not just the UK economy that's doing better. Also, the EU economy is apparently doing better. They're going to go for rate cuts as well. America's getting ready for rate cuts as well. A lot of countries are getting ready for rate cuts. Ironically, the same timings, as voting time. V4 XDC. XDC. Definitely XDC. TZ, definitely XDC. Hi everyone, Miles X. This is freedom of speech platform and not like Telegram. XRP Den, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been, XRP Den? So Bank of England. Bank of England's deputy governor signals potential rate cuts as inflation eases. The Bank of England is gearing up for a potential interest rate cut this summer, impending confirmation that inflation is needed on a downtrend, as anticipated by its Monetary Policy Committee, MPC. This revelation comes directly from the Deputy Governor of the Bank of England's Ben Broadbent, who has previously closely monitoring economic signals across the UK. Broadbent shared insights during a speech, noting that the Bank of England's agents across the nations have observed changes. Companies are reporting a reduced capacity to transfer high wage demands into consumer prices compared to last year. Data is what drives decision. The change's dynamic hints at least pressures on inflation going forward. Broadbent emphasized the importance of real-time data in shaping MPC's decisions, stating, whatever the priorities of its individual members, the MPC will continue to learn from incoming data. If things continue to evolve with this forecast that suggests policies will have to become less restrictive at some point, then it's possible for the bank rate cuts could be sometime over the summer. So the UK could be having rate cuts over the summertime. These comments come ahead of major inflation data expected to be released this Wednesday. Predictions indicate a sharp decline in consumer price inflation, potentially aligning close to the Bank of England's 2% target after a recent downturn in energy prices. The MPC itself has hinted at imminent rate reductions, expecting inflation to descend just below 2% within 2 years and 1.6% by 2027. UK's economy shows resilience in global shocks. In his detailed addresses, Broadbent touched upon the aftermath of the pandemic and the Ukraine conflict, which initially supported essentially inflation. However, these first round efforts have subsided, leaving behind more stubborn second round effects primarily involving wages and prices. These second round effects peaked last autumn, Broadbent explained, but they will take longer to unwind and they can essentially emerge. Now, there's also good news as well regarding essentially the market space. Regarding the market space, this is massive. Rate cuts, as I said previously, if we have rate cuts, good. Investors become a lot more riskier, perfect timing as well, which means riskier assets tend to be cryptocurrencies rather than stocks. If we don't have rate cuts, investors will still run to cryptocurrencies at a slower pace, but because of inflation issues. So either way, we're still good, but if we have rate cuts, it'd be even better. And the UK, the EU, the US, and a few other markets are about to have rate cuts. Interestingly, at the same time, interestingly also as we get closer to voting time. Now, the US SEC is asking for amendments regarding their 19B4 filings for spot Ethereum ETFs, reports. So apparently the SEC has essentially asked all the corporations that filed in their ETF applications for Ethereum to quickly make some changes, apparently. About to go through that as well. But hi Miles, XRP then, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Before we go through that, let me go start the conversation. You think that DOT got potential of a 5x this bull run? Potential? Yeah, sure. US SEC is asking for amendment of 19B4 filings for spot Ethereum ETFs. Firms looking to list and trade shares of spot Ethereum exchange-traded funds are being asked by the US Securities and Exchange Commission to update and refile their documents at a pivotal time if those products were to be approved according to the news reports. Those filings called from 19B4 are filed to let the SEC know about proposed rule changes and among the documents that need the agency's green light before spot Ethereum ETFs can become effective. The SEC's Trading and Markets Division told asset managers on Monday to amend their filings and refile them with the amendments. The Wall Street Journal reported, citing people familiar with the matter. CoinDesk also reported that exchanges were being asked to update their 19B4 filings on this is where it gets interesting regarding Ethereum ETFs, where the Ethereum ETFs, regarding their 19B4 filings from the SEC, where the SEC is telling these corporations that filed their ETFs, they're not telling them, file it whenever you can or file it whenever you want or so on, but they're telling them to file it on an accelerated basis. Which goes back to what I said previously on this live show regarding ETF analyst James and Eric, regarding things are happening in real time. They're changing in real time, and they're happening at a much more faster pace. Which then now comes to this, where CoinDesk is even also reporting it as that the SEC is asking for the exchanges to update their 19B4 filings on an accelerated basis for the Ethereum ETFs. The SEC has never told anyone to file something in extremely quick regarding ETFs. They're the type of agency that postpones everything. So that, is interesting regarding that matter. The outlook for spot Ethereum ETFs has taken an optimistic turn. Regarding that, as I said, Bloomberg ETF analysts James and Eric now say the chances of the SEC approving such a product have increased from 25% to 75%. When spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved earlier this year, the SEC approved 19B4 forms, and then the issuers' registration statements needed to become effective for trading to start. So the same thing that happened right before the Bitcoin ETFs regarding their 19B4 forms is the same thing that's happening right now regarding the Ethereum ETFs. An SEC spokesperson told the block, "We don't comment on individual filings." The SEC was asked to give their opinions on the matter, and they said that we don't comment on individual filings. It's just a way of Gary Gensler saying, "I don't care. It's out of my hands." Now, here's something interesting as well. An ex-Florida congressman joins Coinbase's Global Advisory Council. Ex-Florida man, congressman, joins Coinbase's Global Advisory Council, which is quite a major news as well regarding Coinbase's side, regarding a congressman joining Coinbase. You can see where Coinbase's future is headed quite well, actually. And regarding the previous news I just read out regarding the SEC, regarding their 19B4 filings, that's genuinely major news as well. The SEC asking everybody to be a lot more quicker. Now, before I read the Congress news, let me go inside the comment section. Hi Mal, let's go next up then. You think the potential regarding DOT honestly shows up. If I offended anyone in the CMF, I'm sorry, but don't regret my comments as this is X and not Telegram. Sorry. Next up then. Thank you for the apology. When do you feel if ETFs will happen, Miles? There's a possibility of it happening regarding Ethereum. The only part that raises confusion regarding Ethereum ETFs is Prometheus. Regarding Prometheus launching on the side silently, but they're categorizing it as a security. Prometheus has SEC members working inside of it, the only platform greenlighted by the SEC, and silently they launched. And nobody inside the crypto space is talking about Prometheus. Even people who are inside of Ethereum probably don't even know, some of them don't even know who Prometheus is. And they have SEC members inside their platform. They are the only platform greenlighted by the SEC. They're only using Ethereum, and ironically, they're putting Ethereum in the securities category. And at the same time, we have, Eric and James doing a 360 on their opinions, saying it's going to be approved. It's going to be approved. We're getting inside, chatter. It's going to be approved. And then we have accelerated basis of the SEC saying accelerated basis, filing your 19B4 filings now. Whenever you've ever seen the SEC act quick when it comes to ETFs, the more like postpone, not accelerated basis. So the premium situation is causing the confusion. And regarding the ETFs, what will happen? It's going to be happening this year. And is it going to be happening in a few days' time? It's an outcome. I've always said consider multiple outcomes so you don't get surprised. It's definitely an outcome. But there's other alternative outcomes as well, but it's also an outcome. The SEC asked exchanges to update the 19B4 filings on an accelerated basis for spot Ethereum ETFs. This move suggests progress being made on Ethereum ETFs. It means you hope, which is true. It's exactly what it means. Regarding the 19B4 filings, it's exactly what it means. With the Ethereum, essentially with the SEC asking the platforms, the exchanges to file in their forms on an accelerated basis. Honestly, name one instance in the ETF scenarios from the SEC where the SEC asked anybody to file on an accelerated basis when it came to Ethereum, when it came to ETFs. Never. The SEC has never said that, but now they have regarding Ethereum ETFs. Accelerated basis they want to go on. That's where it draws a lot of attention as well. So it's definitely an outcome of it being approved. Definitely an outcome. It was always one of the outcomes of an approval and one of is not known, but the premium situation is interesting. Are they just going to change their category last second regarding premium? So funny, you just said that as I was typing great minds think alike. Lol. Let's go, Shelly. Pity they couldn't do the same in relations to XRP. Yep, fair point. If Nvidia has a good earnings report, will drive AI coins higher. That's also true as well. Yes, it will, definitely. And yes, so the next news. Ex-Florida congressman joins Coinbase Global Advisory Council. Kendrick Meek, previously serving as the House Representative for Florida's 17th Congressional District, has joined cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase Council to address the digital asset regulatory landscape. If you want to get something done, get the politicians. Either create a politician fund, because if you want to do anything in this world, if you want to have a company, make some money, and sit on the sidelines, nobody's going to look at you, do whatever you want. If you want to sit at the big table with the rest of the corporations and the governments and so on and so on, then obviously you need to, get into politics, because you're not going to make it very far without it. And that's why, obviously, Coinbase and Ripple and a few other members started their politician fund, where it's about $76 or $78 million inside of it, and they're going to be using that fund to pay politicians who are in favor of cryptocurrencies. Hence why all of a sudden the House decided to vote on approving something and go against the SEC, because there's a crypto fund now paying out the politicians, or getting prepared to pay out the politicians. Politicians don't change their opinions overnight out of nowhere. It's because there's a crypto fund that was designed by Ripple, that was designed by Coinbase and a few other companies, about $78 million inside of it. That fund is going to be used for any pro candidates. That's why, again, you had that sudden vote of everybody's against the SEC. Politicians don't align together for no apparent reason. So one way to do it is by funding politicians on political donations to get what you want. The second way is to hire the politicians. Yes, they all have an IQ of a fish. Politicians, all of them, have genuinely the IQ of a fish. Goldfish are smarter than politicians. However, their tactics of blackmail and so on works. And that's why you see companies like Coinbase who hire politicians out of nowhere, because they have zero knowledge of what is blockchain, first of all, to defend it. But they can get the job done, is all that matters. And that's why you had that random vote scenario, all of them in favor of crypto. Sure. If that crypto fund of $78 million wasn't there, there'd be zero votes. In May 20th, ex post, Coinbase Chief Policy Officer Faryal Shahzad said Meek had joined the exchange's Global Advisory Council as a part of efforts to update the systems governing digital assets inside the United States. The former Florida congressman served in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2003 to 2011 and was a member of the Committee of the Ways and Means, and which has jurisdiction over Texas. According to the report from The Hill, Meek spoke in favor of digital assets, as they offer new opportunities to address the systematic issues that have plagued essentially our financial systems. He will join other former U.S. lawmakers on the council, including Stephanie Murphy, Tim Ryan, and Pat Toomey. Cointelegraph reached out to Meek for a comment but did not receive a response at the time of publication. Coinbase established the Advisory Council in May 2023 to navigate the increasingly complex and evolving crypto landscape globally. The firm currently faces a lawsuit, obviously, by the SEC that's still going on, and Coinbase is also involved in 2024 election season through its Stand with Crypto initiative. That's the fund I was talking about. How Coinbase, obviously, is also involved with that with the 2024 election season through its Stand with Crypto innovation, which Ripple's also involved, and a few other companies are involved, aiming to encourage U.S. voters to support crypto-focused lawmakers. Which basically means you get the politicians to approve crypto laws, and then you get the people to vote for those politicians. And then the politicians get political donations. Just a nice little loop of cycle. Honestly, if you want to get something done, either hire the politicians or pay the politicians, and you'll get whatever you want. They all have a goldfish brain cell, but they're good at one thing: getting the job done. Now, let's go to the comment section. Here we go. You're so intelligent, Miles, and it's free. Thank you sincerely. XRP then, thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you, honestly. Miles, I messaged you on Telegram. I will check it out. Apologies for that. Work is calling. Thank you, Miles. See everyone tomorrow. Shelly, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. I must think before I text. XRP then, no problem. We have also reached the ending of tonight's live show as well. Just the gist of everything we talked about for anybody that tuned in late. And we talked about the ex-Florida congressman that's joining essentially Coinbase. On tonight's live show, we talked about the US SEC 19B4 filings. I'm just giving the gist rundown. If you want to watch the full version, obviously replay the live show. All of them are pre-recorded and posted instantly automatically by the platform itself on X and YouTube. And we talked about the Bank of England's essentially rate cuts that's going to be happening. We talked about the US we talked about the SEC accelerated basis regarding ETF applications on 19B4 filings. We talked about Ripple and how they're going to be launching in Brazil because Brazil is about to open their doors fully to cryptocurrencies, which is massively bullish. We talked about Brazil central bank saying that essentially their regulations are pretty much ready to go, and this year they are going to be implemented. We talked about Coinbase essentially also expanding into Brazil because of Brazil opening their doors. Coinbase is trying to push their base two-layer network into Brazil. On the other side, you have Ripple trying to push their XRP ledger into Brazil as well, which I think is great for both sides. And also, the much more massive news regarding that matter is obviously regulations equals to corporations being able to go heavy-footed on crypto assets, and also other institutions start getting interested inside of the jurisdictions start getting interested as well because they look at Brazil and they go, if Brazil's doing this, it's working out well for them, then we can do this as well. So many positives. One is other jurisdictions will look at essentially Brazil and go, if they can do it, we can do it. Two, corporations will have a lot more leniency coming inside the crypto space. Three, this is great for Coinbase stock if you are holding Coinbase stock. Four, this is great for the base network. If you're doing anything on the base network, a lot more money should be entering it over time. Five, this is also good for Ripple because they're doing the same scenario of expanding on the XRP ledger. There's multiple reasons. I can list 10 reasons why this is great and extremely bullish for the crypto space, honestly. Then we talked about, see the full video, and then we talked about the programmable Bitcoin blockchain space. And then we talked about essentially 40.3% of an interest from VC companies. Mainly, VC companies are mainly going towards this essentially fund blockchain startups, Web3 startups, and so on. That's what their main aim is regarding VC companies. Why is that bullish? Because it shows confidence inside the crypto sector. And then we talked about essentially the Blockchain Association and how they're calling for the FIT21 House vote, which is massive news. We're going to FIT21 House vote. If you thought that vote that we recently had was big news, the FIT21 House is going to knock off your shoes because the FIT21 House gives the CFTC, which is going to be next week, they're going to be doing voting on it. It gives the SEC a lot more, it gives the CFTC a lot more power regarding, essentially bringing out the regulations. It gives the CFTC a lot more power regarding regulations compared to the SEC. And the CFTC chairman has said before that he will be regulating essentially crypto spaces within 6 months to a year. He said I can regulate the crypto space. And he said the majority of them are not securities. And then we talked about Profumium, which is a very confusing scenario. Definitely watch the live show regarding that. And then we talked about Eric and James and how people thought maybe their accounts are hacked. Why are they mentioning Ethereum ETF is going to be approved? And they said, nope, our accounts are not hacked because it has happened before regarding Gary Gensler, the SEC scenario. And then we talked about the Ethereum ETF scenario, obviously. And then we talked about the Grayscale Investment CEO coincidentally leaving at the same time as essentially the New York AG that's essentially came to a deal with Genesis, DCG, Gemini, FTX, and the CEO of Grayscale all had this dodgy scenario going on together. And since the New York essentially AG has settled the case between Genesis of $2 billion, at the exact same time, Grayscale is going to be replacing their CEO, coincidentally. We also talked about the hack situation that's happened on Gala. $200 million worth of Gala was compromised and sold off for Ethereum, which also pushed Ethereum to new heights. And we talked about the UK judge that's going to be most likely prosecuting Craig, the person that essentially assumed he's the founder of Bitcoin. So we talked about quite a lot of things on tonight's live show. Definitely watch, review the live show if you did miss it. Quite a lot of things we talked about, quite a lot of vital things we talked about on tonight's live show, as we always do. And if you did enjoy this live show, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching it for the first time ever, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. I do this live show every single night, UK time, 11:25 p.m. This live show starts on X and YouTube Live. As always, if you enjoyed it, drop a follow, drop a like. Or if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on X, retweet the live show, like the live show, do whatever you want with the live show. Yeah. But before we go, one second, let me go inside the comment section. I must, yeah. Good night, Mark. Good night, and all CMF. Thank you for the news. JP, see you tomorrow about the same time as usual. Good night, CMF and Miles. Crypto J, see you tomorrow same time as usual. Are we going to have X back on tele? Well, we're going to see. Good night, Miles and CMF. Carol, good to see you tomorrow same time as usual as well. Good night, Miles and CMF. Take care and see you tomorrow. Mike, see you tomorrow about the same time as usual. If you have a minute and you give me a rundown on the DM I sent you, thank you. Coinbase is up $19 today. Let's go, JP. And yes, JP, I need to send you the rundown for XDC. Yes. Bless and thanks, Mal. Thanks, Miss. Bless and good night, and wish you health and love from me. XLB then, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Miles, not Mrs. No problem. XLB then, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Struggling with non-power still here in Houston from the tornado last week. Take care, Mounds and CMF though. God bless Ray. Sorry to hear that, brother. Hope things do get better. And see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Have a good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. I will see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. If you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like. I will see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. Cheers to all. Genesis, let's go. Genesis, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. Tune into this live show every single night. If you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow, same time as usual.